So
Absolutely.
it's the best way to do this kind of thing, which, by the way, we are live.
Which is why we just turned it on mid-sentence. It's that authentic.
That's how we do it. We're literally flying by the seat of our pants. I'm at home, as usual, just sitting in the snake room. Although today, I do have to say, I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I feel it more, but it feels much more hot and stuffy. It's like 87 degrees right now.
In your room. Yeah.
In here. Yeah.
Well, I always check the forecast before I drive out to work at the shop with you. And I see tomorrow will be a cool 111. So I'm not ready for that.
Nobody is.
It's that gif of Elmo on fire for eternity.
Yeah. It's interesting. It doesn't seem to deter people from coming to the shop, though.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
And Grant will be helping out Coach and popping in and out, but mostly it'll be you and I. So fortunately, the swamp cooler works really well.
Yes, exactly. So, it'll keep us alive.
Yeah. So, but
well, happy Friday, man.
Is it Friday?
Today's Friday.
Oh yeah.
Carpets and Coffee live Fridays.
Oh, sorry. I can't ever keep track of what day it is. To me, it's Sunday because it's my weekend.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? But yeah.
How are you feeling?
Eric, I'm out of it. I'm in my weekend. I have no idea what day it is, sort of thing.
Oh, and you were saying your allergies came for you the other day, right?
Yeah. Today is the first day I haven't been assaulted by my allergies yet. So
good progress.
Yeah, but yesterday and the day before were miserable. I actually left work early, and so yesterday I did a little bit of cleaning in here, which was rough. It was hard. That zaps my energy. And then today it's like, all right, feel better. Now I gotta do some feeding trials with some babies, hopefully get some of these coastals started and get another round of food into everybody else. Hey, a lot of people are popping in here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to Hair Looking Soft. Thank you, Summer.
Yeah. You use conditioner?
It is. I do. And I don't know. It's like my dad is Chinese. He has really thick, like wiry hair, but like the Asian hair it's like a cloud.
Nice. I'm jealous.
Anyway,
I used to have long hair as a kid, and into my early 20s, I would grow it to my shoulders and shave it, grow it, shave it, grow it, shave it. And then one year I grew it, shaved it, and it just didn't come back. So I just stopped.
It's okay. Yeah, you rock it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
Now I grow the beard, and now I get to take care of that with nice oils and combs and brushes.
Yeah, you didn't lose anything. It just moved downstream.
Yeah, it just lost the battle to gravity is all.
Yeah.
The front lines retreated a bit, but
100%.
Yeah.
And shout out to Summer for her appearance on NPR last week. That was wonderful.
I listened to
Great stuff.
Over yesterday and today. I'm so scattered when it comes to podcasts these days.
It's all good. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's weird for me. Like it's not like I ever listen to them because I don't have any really long drives these days, so I don't have that to look forward to. At work, if I put anything on the speakers in the front, that means I've got to stay in the front to hear it. Otherwise, if I'm working anywhere else, I can't hear it. So
right. It was cool though to just have like an old school NPR Eric and Owen interview kind of thing. It's been a while. I feel like there's been so many of the like herp histories and the natural history thing. It was like, oh yeah, they used to do this kind of thing every week.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah, Summer did a great job.
Totally.
Yeah, I have to spend more time working on like putting together shows that I find myself I work on them more than I listen to them now. So, but I guess that's the price we pay, huh?
The price we pay.
Yeah.
Muy vivi. Do you want to tell the story?
Oh yeah. So basically, if anybody's wondering why my name says Muy vivi, Eric and Owen are out herping, and Owen went out herping. They've been going out like the last 2 days, right?
Yes. Yesterday, it was the tale of Owen.
Yeah. So yesterday, Owen he must have left his phone open in the NPR chat, like the full public one.
Yeah.
And it started like changing the names of a lot of the members.
He somehow systematically, without his fingers, changed with the nicknames of like 8 different people. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
And it was all just random stuff.
And then he changed them all back.
Yeah.
And then today in our private chat, they're out herping, and all of a sudden my name changes to Muy VV out of nowhere. No explanation.
This time it was Eric.
Yes, and it was
They
Eric's.
Both have this problem together.
Or superpower, depending how you look at it.
But for me, like personally, I think Muy VV is a fantastic nickname for you. And I can't explain it. I have no reason for that. It just works, and it's fun to say. And I will continue to use it.
We'll never tell people what VV stands for, and that will be the allure, the mystery of it.
Yeah.
Won't know what it stands for.
Exactly.
It does not stand for Van Deventer. That's already a thing.
It does not stand for Varanus.
It does not stand for vast vacancies either.
There's not vast vacancies, is there?
No, there's 1, 2, 3. There's a couple vacancies, but yeah. So, but that's the story of the name change.
Yes.
For today's episode, and also why Eric is not with us today, nor Owen. Although normally Owen is not here, he's usually working and graces us with his presence sparingly, so we don't overdose on Owen.
Right. Or, in my case, if he fires me 3 times in one day, it actually counts. So,
speaking of that, in the episode with Summer, they're arguing towards the end. Owen's like, how did the intern get an intern? And Eric's like, I don't know. That's you, man. You've got to be controlling the situation. He's like, they're out of control. And what else did he say? He said something ridiculous that I was just dying about.
I kind of like the thought that somehow you and I almost mirror them in a way.
That's what it was.
And
yes.
It's funny because I see it. Like, you and Owen with the beards and the angry colubrids. Wow. Why did I say it like that? I don't know. Then me and Eric with the guitar and the like.
But we need our own Rob now. We need somebody who's like sitting there in
second
the background,
generation Rob.
Like pulling like snippets of our audio to roast us every year later on.
Somebody's probably doing it.
It's probably Rob. He's just doing double duty now.
But I was cracking up over that. Like there can be some parallels if you look close enough.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
So
yes.
But yeah, other than that, the only other thing that that was said was about that was, I always find it funny how my name keeps coming up in these podcasts. Anyway,
you're just on Owen's mind.
I just weasel my way into all of his shit. I don't know how it is.
Gonna be hard.
Even after I like bashed Coastals in favor of Papuans, like to his face, and like told him directly, I was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, Owen, he's got this tough exterior. He's got this whole like I'm Owen thing, but in the middle, he's just soft and squishy. And I think his love, he feels comfortable showing his love for you, and we have to support him.
Yes, which we do.
We do.
Oh, the wind just closed my door.
It was the ghost of Owen's toughness. Anyway, yeah, they're out herping. I think they found some timbers we saw, but
looks like they also found some toads and salamanders.
Yeah, there was like a slender salamander kind of dude.
Yeah, they've got a lot over in the East Coast. The East Coast and some of the states out there, there's a lot of like slimies, arboreals, spotted. There's ensatinas. You go out there, there's sirens, hellbenders in some places.
Oh, yeah. There's there's another grad student in my lab that's doing field work with hellbenders for his thesis.
That's cool.
I think a few weeks ago, actually, he found a few, and that was awesome to see.
Nice.
It's like probably one of the most badass creatures on this continent, like that nobody really thinks about.
Yeah, that's a very true statement. I worked with a gal who, in my zoo days, did her master's thesis on them, and then had connections over in Japan where she flew out and got to go see Japanese giant salamanders in the wild, see hybrids between them and the Chinese, see the hybrid vigor and learn about the problems going on, and then see some captive breeding facilities and whatnot. So I got to see a lot of the photographs. Wow. Pretty amazing. I mean, those things are, it's kind of weird, but like they're kind of like an apex predator in their own but they're like made like
Gumby.
Yeah, but they can do, the big ones can take chunks. Like I've seen bite photos of dudes that have like gnarly scars from like reaching under rocks and streams looking for them, and one just like whack and just grabs them, like pretty physically like devastating bite for what we think of as like a little slimy,
squishy,
water puppy.
This is one of my favorite episodes of River Monsters with Jeremy Wade, like the original show. He did one with the Japanese giants, and I was like blown away that is an animal that is there.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing. It's pretty crazy. So
they're nuts.
Yeah. Salamanders in general are really overlooked. They're really cool. I just if you're ever going to keep them, you have to be very mindful of their water quality, softness, and usually temperature. They usually need it cooler than we offer them. So that's hard for me to do out here when it's going to be 111 tomorrow.
Yeah, no, without like really good AC, and even with good AC, like it's good luck.
You usually need like a cold room, a chiller, the whole nine. So
I found a pair of really nice yellow-eyed Ensatina in the field last week. One of them was missing its tail, but getting along just fine. They're such cool salamanders. And if you ever see an arboreal salamander's like teeth, like an impressive chomper for something
Google
that size.
Look up arboreal salamanders, and you'll find plenty of photos of their teeth because that's like their most impressive attribute.
Oh yeah, if they were dog size, we would be scared.
Oh, dude, they're brutal. They'll make you bleed for sure.
Oh yeah,
it's a little tiny salamander. It's hilarious. That a bite from that would be worse than a bite from a baby carpet python. 100%.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Speaking of baby carpet pythons, pivot to some snake talk. How are your baby carpet pythons?
Dude, I would love to know why. If anybody's ever done research, why every so often in some clutches there are some babies that just don't shed in the same time window as the rest, and maybe that's a product of me because I separate my babies and I don't leave them in a big mass together once they've hatched, and then put them in a moist bin in the egg box or in the hatchling rack for like 2 weeks. I don't do that. I set them up, sex them, and dish them out right away so I know who's who and what their feeding stuff is. And I always seem to get one or two that like take like a month and a half or 2 months to have that first shed. And oftentimes they'll even begin feeding prior to that first shed, at least once. And so I was planning on offering some of these het and visual axanthic coastals their first meals today. And 2 of them have yet to have their first shed, and it was the same situation with my poplin clutch.
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
So it's just an odd observation, in my opinion. I think I have at least one clutch every year with 1 or 2 holdouts like that, and I have no understanding why. So, but other than that, the jungle clutch, there are 2 still holding out on shed for me there, but I think that's a little more reasonable because they're not even 2 weeks old yet. So or maybe they are. They hatched on the 21st, so
they got 2 weeks.
They're 18 days. Yeah. So
and you're waiting for sheds to offer food in most cases, is that right?
Yeah, ideally, clutch hatches, sheds in a week or 2, and then the whole group will shed within a day or 2 of one another. And then about 3.5 to 4 weeks after that is when I aim to make my first feeding attempts, because in the years past, if I fed or offered food, say like the week after or a few days after, very unsuccessful. And I found that waiting at least, like 3 to 4 weeks at the earliest for offering food is usually a good road to success, minimal wasted rodents.
Okay.
So that's just been my experience of the last 4 or 5 seasons with baby Morelia.
Awesome. Right on. And then the last of your unborn eggies are Cribos. Is that all that's left?
Yeah, and that ball python clutch.
Oh, but right.
We're not going to talk about that.
Hey,
that's just to support my Woma addiction.
That's what I was going to say. That ball python clutch had value. It got you Womas.
Yeah, and I don't want to go into it too much, but like there's mutual benefit in both parties and selling.
Oh yeah.
It's everybody's like, what? That's the deal of the century. I'm like, yeah, maybe, but it benefits both sides. So
certainly,
it's not like so I took advantage of anybody. I don't want anybody to think that.
No, 100%.
Yeah. So, but so Cribos, and they're on day 100 right now. The eggs, because I have to use this tiny little, made in China Exoterra, generic incubator that has the cooling feature. Mm-hmm. Because of its size, I'm limited to what I can use as egg boxes. So I had to find Tupperware that would maximize the size in there with shelving or without. And it's not very big, so I had to break the clutch up into 2 bins and tried a new incubation method this season with them, and overdid the moisture a little bit in one of the bins. And it was funny because one of the bins, like, I think I had 13 eggs, and I did 1 bin with 6 and 1 with 7. Okay. One bin, all the eggs went entirely like brown, too much moisture, like way too much. And then the other bin, only like 2 ended up going bad. So it's either a mistake on my part from my oversaturation in the media, or the rest of those eggs had weak embryos to begin with, or no embryos to begin with, first time mom. I mean, who knows? I didn't candle those eggs. It's really hard to candle with those crystals.
I bet.
I had never think to candle anyway. So.
When it's all said and done, are you going to crack them open and see what's going on in all of those brown ones?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. I mean,
I'm very curious.
It's a really good point. You might have been doomed from the start with some of them. Mm-hmm. It might not have been a mistake at all, like you're saying.
Yeah. I want to know. So I know better what to do next season. One way or another, if these 4 good eggs hatch, I'll be very pleased. First time breeding the species, much more informed and prepared for next season. Mm-hmm. And and I could be completely surprised. So that the eggs that are bad, it's not like, when an egg goes bad and if you leave it, it just like a crumbled can, like molding. None of these eggs are doing that. It's a very distinct
smell too.
These eggs don't smell.
Wow.
They're not like and like slimy and gross. They've all turned brown. Now, I don't know if that's a surface color change as a result of a bacteria that's present, or if that's because the coconut husk that was originally under there stained the water that was then dripped onto them and just tainted the color. I really have no idea.
Cocoa Blocks polyfill situation? Yeah. And that stuff does stain. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So I did change that whole bin out and put some hatch right down, and then just put the bad egg straight in there, put a couple more air holes in that bin to try and air it out, dry it out a bit, but keep moisture in with that hatch, right? Because it has water crystals in it. And literally the eggs are just in a stasis. They haven't gone bad. They haven't done anything. They're just still sitting there. So, typically when I'm dealing with eggs, I'm dealing with python eggs. Right. This is one of the very few times I've dealt with colubrid eggs. And not only are they unusual eggs, it's like an unusual everything to me. So I don't know. I'm letting all of those eggs, dude, they have weight, they have mass, they have like substance to them.
Yeah.
And they're not slimy. They're not, but they're like brown. Like they have like funky looking, like some little dents to them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be fascinating either way. I kind of am, excited to just hear what happens. Like, I mean, I'm sure we'll all just kind of be losing our minds if you end up having those brown ones hatch too. And then this whole time you're thinking they were dead and they weren't. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be a freaking miracle.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have no hope for those eggs, but I am letting them ride the rest of the way. And we'll see what happens over the next 10 to 20 days.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, man.
Very exciting. Eggs are cool.
Yeah, eggs are cool.
I got to do that for the first time.
Yeah. And you did it in a big way.
It's so interesting. So in the last episode, I had gotten the one clutch that is hypohet stripe up with mom over here, and those continue to be the same. But then last week, I got the next two clutches, and it was really cool. Those two snakes, they had their prelay sheds on back-to-back days, and then they laid their eggs on back-to-back days. So
there you go.
That clock,
the system is consistent.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so the hypohet stripe, the second hypohet stripe laid first, and she did not lay in a nest box. She went ahead and laid just right under the radiant heat panel, and it probably would have been fine, but I was planning on taking her clutch either way, and it kind of worked out nice in that way that she was also the one that didn't choose the nest box. So I went ahead and took all those. There were 23 perfect looking eggs. I candled a few just because I'm a nerd and I wanted to see the little veins, and that was awesome. But yeah, and then I also had to peel some off the top, which I had never separated eggs before, and I didn't get to them like super, super fresh. So that was a little bit nerve wracking, but nothing popped. So I think everything's okay. Had to peel those to close the egg box, but it was like one of those big sim containers too. Like that was it was a lot. But yeah, nice to take a clutch from one of them, and I've already got a meal back in her. I stripped the cage, washed everything out so she wasn't in mom mode anymore, and she took a rodent, and
good.
So we'll get her body condition back, and then like I said, the next day, double het stonewash stripe dropped, and that was a perfect situation because I caught her after she had only laid like the first three. So I got there in progress, and I posted up next to the cage for 2 hours and started taking like every other egg, because I know that everybody that has done this before knows this, but I was surprised how slow of a process it is. Like after she laid one, she took like 10-15 minutes of a break before she did the next one. So I was standing there for a really long time to get what ended up being 5 eggs out. And I put those in the incubator and left her with the rest, which I can't really tell, but it looks like about 15 more. And she's wrapping those and doing that whole thing. So yeah, I mean, the reason that I did that, for those that don't know, is I'm doing a reproductive study on the Brettles pythons. So for that particular clutch, I have 5 eggs from that mom in the incubator and the rest with her, so I can compare the two treatments without having to account for genetic differences that you would naturally see from, different moms. So it'll be really interesting. Like if there is actually a difference, then that says a lot more in this particular case, because we expect it all to be just about the same from the same litter. But yeah, and that snake has been wrapping the eggs perfectly, shivering a ton to generate heat, especially right away, because those eggs are pretty cold by the time she finally finished laying them. So yeah, I mean, I have about 60 to 65 Brettles eggs in this room right now, which is so cool.
So how many total are you doing artificial then? One full clutch and then the 5?
One full clutch. Oh, artificial plus 5. Yes. Yeah. Okay. 28 are artificial. And then I estimate that she is wrapped around about 20 to 25. I can't tell. And then again, I think I left about 12 to 15. So a pretty even split.
Nice.
Depending on how it goes. And yeah, it's been already just in the last few days really interesting to see the different strategies from the two females. One of them I haven't seen shake or do any facultative thermogenesis at all. She just leaves, wraps around the bulb to get warm real quick, and then returns to the eggs with that heat. The other one hasn't left the clutch at all and is shivering. So different strokes for different folks, I guess. Maybe one just has better body condition and has enough energy stores to do the shivering, and the other one doesn't. Maybe it's because the one that's doing the shivering has a radiant heat panel and not a bulb, so can't do it anyway. I don't know. I do not know.
You need a big building so you can test all of these hypotheses.
Exactly. I need a big building.
Tinker with all the variables.
For many reasons. But yeah, so that's the update with Brettles eggs. And then I also had Alan Stevens, shout out Monitor Podcast. He stopped by last week and I got to meet him for the first time. It was super fun. He got to see a roughie for the first time, which is always fun. Yeah.
Nice.
So, friend of yours, friend of the pod.
Yep. Member of the crew, member of the network.
Yes. Oh yeah, and I got another Woma.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Happened to throw another one in the collection.
Yeah. So
what does that put your total group to now?
That would be. Hold on. Seven, not including Owen's pair.
Nice.
So it'll be 9.
9 Womas, 6 blackheads, a bajillion Brettles.
I'm done now.
Okay.
Another
roughie.
I should also tell the people I've decided after thinking long and hard, many a sleepless night, I will be parting with my Aru green tree python after discussing it with people like Riley. Reason being, great snake. Love that snake. She's fun. She's wonderful. But I do not need that project. And we have a mutual friend, Lisa, that has 2 boys that are Aru locality. So I'd rather she go to somebody that is dedicated to that more so than I am and try to make more pure Aru babies. So I am also getting rid of something. I'm not only adding for that Woma. That's what I'm saying. No. It was not a net gain.
Oh.
Wait. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just justifying things. You know how we justify things.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. Ricky Garcia asked if I could show a Crebo.
Can you?
That's like asking for chaos in this little screen. Like that.
If carpets and coffee isn't chaos, what is it?
Dude, I've got like 2 bins of rodents out. I'm gonna get. I don't think that's gonna happen. They're just they don't sit still. They're too big for this frame.
Do you have a picture? Could share a picture, perhaps, or not? Not to put you on the spot.
Let's see. I don't know. It's that's gonna take me too long to find something.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm being a terrible co-host, asking you to do things.
I'm not prepared for showing off Grebos, so.
And we didn't have that in the notes.
Yeah, the notes.
Damn it!
Where's Eric when you need him?
I know he would have pictures of pretty carpets and things like that for us. Yeah.
Well, eventually there's going to be, a shortage of like can't show all the localities of carpets. Eventually we go through them all, and he's the one with all the documentation and catalog stuff online. So we'll save that for when he's present. He's out getting in touch with his roots.
Yeah.
And a herper again.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, okay. New Woma, Brettles eggs. Oh, and then the other thing that happened for me is I got to have a little chat with a researcher in Australia named Dr. Melissa Brutton. She does a lot of field work with Womas out there, and I had a really great time chatting with her about some of her radio tracking studies and stuff like that, just kind of gathering more information for a little project I'm cooking up for grad school and whatnot.
She lent a little bit of an encouraging insight into some of the populations and how they might actually be doing better than we think.
Yeah, certainly. That was one takeaway. I definitely want to save a lot of the information for the future. Everybody can stay posted on that. But
people need to hear that. That's cool research.
Yeah,
and
one of the
you'll have it all in like a digestible, presentable audio.
Exactly. More to come on all that for sure. I don't want to put the horse in front of the cart and run it over, but that is definitely fair to say is one of the great takeaways from that conversation was somebody that has actually been out there studying the Womas in the wild kind of rejected the idea that they are struggling or that they're not doing well. It seems more likely that they just live a very secretive lifestyle and they're hard to find. they're underground a lot. And
you're keeping yours on Sandy chips, right? Or like a small particulate?
Yep.
Even the babies, right?
Yeah, all of them. Yep. And I have been seeing digging behavior, especially from those two babies, more so than the older ones, which is interesting. And my brain kind of goes to thinking like I could see baby Womas in the wild spending more of their time underground than the adults for obvious reasons, right? I mean, they're food, they're easy to pick off, and smaller things are more susceptible to thermal stress. And those burrows, what their main benefit are to the Womas is thermal buffering. So I bet baby Womas are underground a staggering amount of the time, and nobody sees them. That could be why.
Yeah.
So super cool to see them dig in that material. But yeah, all very cool stuff.
Yeah, it's I just had a similar thought about how it's probably hard for them to find baby Womas because of their natural history. I think about how every time when we're talking back and forth with Eric and some of the other folks about how there's very little documented study on baby carpets. And then I think about, when they talk about finding snakes for researchers and they're like passing over the little ones because they know the researchers or they think the researchers want the big ones. And maybe that's why they're, only finding big females and never the males sort of thing. Or I think about that and how it pertains to maybe popwind pythons, bull and eye, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, maybe there's more to it in that regard. But I know as far as what they're looking for with Womas, it's not like they have like native folks living out there. They're just like, oh yeah, let me find you a Woma.
Right. The native folks are trying to find Womas too. They're hard to find.
Everybody is. Sean Porter asks, how are the zebras coming? Here's one of the little boys.
Nice.
Still waiting.
Birdie.
Yeah, he's nice. They change so much, man. When they hatch out, they're like gray and black or white and black. And then first shed brings on a lot of yellow. Second shed brings on more. But then you start seeing it change in between each one, like cleanliness or speckling or tipping or whatever it is. And they just change so much over the first 2 years that you're not done seeing what they're going to look like for a while. With jungles, one of the best things to do is, if possible, see the parents either by photograph or in person, and then that'll kind of give you an idea of maybe like the spectrum of phenotypes, males to females, based on dad and mom and kind of how they look. You can kind of see it afterwards, but you don't really know how they're going to end up. So a lot of folks always suggest like holding on to babies for like a year or so. I just can't do that. Yeah. I've held on to clutches for like 6-7 months, things like that. But so I do plan on adding a couple new zebras to the family later on this year and next year, just to like add some more to the stock. So I don't plan on keeping anything from this clutch, even though there's some really nice looking. Like I like zebras with stripes. These things have a little bit, but not what I'm looking for. And I have no problem like that right there. That's cool. That negative black stripe there on the dorsal.
Yep.
Something like that all the way down is what I'm looking for. So I think they're wonderful animals. They're cool, and people are gonna enjoy them, I hope.
Yeah. No, it's such a beautiful, busy mutation.
Yeah.
I really dig it.
On one female zebra to shed, and then the one of the two supers to shed. The supers are a trip. It's so crazy how the heterozygous form of the zebra is so busy and all over the place, and yet the homozygous or super form is quite the opposite and just entirely patternless. Just couldn't be further from one another in phenotype. So
for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Here's the one that has shed. And they change a bunch too, but because there's no pattern, it's just a color tonal thing that changes, and they have this lateral stripe on their flanks that varies from individuals too. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And the super zebras are the one that can have issues with the tail. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's his tail. His is not bad. It sheds off fine. But they can have like a fold, like a full like little nub, or like all sorts of issues that then make it a challenge to shed properly.
Right.
And then it needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. Oh, you're fine. So, yeah, well, that's good. That's how you want them. And, oddly enough, the zebra stuff tends to be pretty feisty. That holds true. I'm not really sure why that is, but they usually eat well.
For sure.
And, both of these boys will be available eventually. I already have a pair.
Ow.
Stop it. Charlie.
Stop that. I'm not a rat.
So, yeah, man, the jungles are doing well. They will be the last ones to get food offerings out of this group. Like I said, I'll wait a few more weeks before they need any food offering. So you'll probably want to wait even longer with your Bredli.
Yeah,
I imagine they came out pretty well nourished and probably don't need to eat for quite some time.
Probably. I have no idea what to expect, and I am scared. I just hope that baby rat gets here in time.
Yeah, I would think if you do sort of the similar thing, you wait like 3-4 weeks before offering, get them nice and hungry, and then it'll be good.
Yeah.
So
I know, and that whole idea about like send Nick his half before, like without feeding them, if he'll take it, that whole idea, I can't do that because the first few feeding trials are part of my study, damn it. So I have to keep them all and look at them all.
Well, and after that one time when Eric gave Owen that fresh like red tiger jag, he just like brought her, home shortly after she shed or whatever, and they don't live far away, and she was a huge problem feeder as a result.
Yeah, you never know.
I think that maybe moving them too soon has something to do with that. I don't know.
It certainly could. You never know.
But anyway, I know we're sans the two OGs, but I didn't have a whole lot this week, and I know you've got stuff going on. We had talked about keeping this one short this week, so it's just going to be just a little simple update one. Not a lot has been going on in the world of Morelia as of late right now, at least in the States, or maybe it's just because I've buried my head in the sand because I don't care anymore. But
well, should we unpack that?
Nah. Screw it. I don't need to get on my soapbox and wag fingers at the proverbial community any more than I already have. So
okay.
I don't have anything nice to say, so I'm just going to keep it to myself.
All right. Well, you've always got me, buddy.
Well, yeah, I mean, my friends know who they are. You guys all know who they are.
Yeah.
And then Scott, I know Scott Iper's in the house. Scott, I want to get you on when Eric's here so we can get a lot of good combustible discussion going. I know Scott and I have talked, and I'd love to get him on here and part of the bonus of changing.
He has something to say.
Scott's got a good mind, and a lot of good stuff comes out of his mouth. So it's a valuable time having a conversation with Scott. And I would love for Eric to also be here because he can lend some wisdom as well. Me, if I don't have the guidance of a couple cool-minded heads playing the bumpers for me as I'm the bowling ball going down the alley of rage and combustion, then I'll end up saying something mean. I don't want to do that.
Okay. That's good awareness.
I just like, if I'm going to talk about stuff like that, I tend to be more successful and clear when I have the right people around me. And quite frankly, I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of talking about it.
No problem.
But, Sean, yes, the zebra morph was found in jungles. The whole cobra getting loose is pretty fucked. Yeah, well.
Oh, yeah. That whole
You know
thing.
what, dude? I have nothing good to say about the majority of venomous keepers in the United States because this type of bullshit keeps happening. Nothing but good. You never see good news headlines coming about that stuff. So
that's a particularly bad one.
I don't really want to give that any more media attention than it's already got, to be honest. Because, dude, there's so many stupid people in our community right now, and we often find ourselves talking about them or putting them on the screen or saying their names or whatever. And I'd like to at least start a commitment to not talk about those people, not mention the names of the people who are the negative influences, and just be above that, be better than that, and ignore those people until they leave at least my circle of the hobby or whatever. Because it infuriates me that there's that many insensitive people out there just doing horribly irresponsible things that affect every one of us without a care in the world.
Yeah.
They don't learn from it.
It is infuriating.
I have nothing nice to say about those people.
And
they don't deserve the attention. So I refuse to give it to them.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it makes me think of this week's Reptile Fight Club episode that I just finished listening to, which is whether certain individuals should be blacklisted or whether we should have it in our hearts to forgive folks.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful discussion.
It's a great episode. Yeah, definitely.
And
you should go listen to that. Go buy Scott's book, the new Australian Lizards of Australia book as well.
Yes.
You should also buy the Snakes of Australia book if you don't have that already. That's a fantastic one.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Scott brings up a great point. Celebrate excellent husbandry. I think people need to stop focusing on the idiots that lose their fingers because they don't know how to handle alligators safely. I think we need to stop supporting free handling knuckleheads that don't understand what they're doing, bringing that in front of the next generation. And I think we need to support good conservation organizations like the Reptile Preservation Institute. You can become a member of their Patreon. I am and have been proudly the largest, like, of the top tier that they offer, because I wholeheartedly support everything they're doing. Their main, sort of motto is conserve like no one's looking. You know why? Because it's not a freaking popularity contest. It's not a race. It has nothing to do about ego. It's because if you don't, this world is going to be lost, and a lot of its good stuff in it is going to go with it. And we're going to just lose our rights to have animals, see it in its natural beauty. And a lot of these idiots out in, Florida, and all these stupid examples on YouTube, all these jackasses are just ruining it for everyone. And it's not just the United States. It's everywhere. I'm freaking sick of it. So sick of it. You guys, I'm so angry now.
It goes back, like we've had these conversations both on the show and off the show, and it always goes back to the reason why folks are doing this in the first place. I mean, that's the bottom line, and it's transparent. It's not hard. It didn't take much to realize why somebody is doing what they're doing, right? And so, just like you're saying, finding a way to prop up the people that are doing things for the right reason, that are doing things in a way that you agree with, and in a way that frankly benefits the animals, whether it's, in terms of making captive animals' lives better, or finding ways to try and help in situ conservation. When you watch something, when you digest any sort of content, it's not hard. It's not hard to know what the person behind the cameras or whatever is trying to do, right? So I'm with you. There needs to be a filter at some level, where we put our foot down and let the cream rise to the top, because there are stakes, and giving attention, even if it's just a click, even if it's just a view, even if for all intents and purposes you say you don't support that individual, like you are, and
every view, even a dislike, even a thumbs down is helping make them money according to YouTube's algorithm. You got it. The only way it goes away is if we stop watching them, stop supporting them, subscribing, following, everything. You pull the plug on them, they have to go get real jobs flipping burgers at McDonald's or whatever the hell else those idiots that barely flunked out of high school because they're like, oh, I'm just going to be a YouTube free handler forever. Like, fuck that. Go get a real job, contribute to society, quit detracting from it. There's some of us who actually love these animals and want to share that for our lives and the people around us. And these jackasses are going around burning our bridge while we're standing on it. Fucking morons. Pisses me off. I hate those people, dude. I'm so fired up right now. I do not like what our hobby has become at all because of that. And they know who they are, and they don't see anything wrong with it, which is the freaking problem. And there's idiots like that in California too. It's not just Florida.
Oh, of course. I mean, there are idiots everywhere, in every hobby, in every group. The difference in our case compared to other cases is that we're talking about living things, some of which have the power to end life, and a climate where a large portion of our society is already against us from the get-go. And it doesn't take much to kind of sever the possibility of doing this for good. Literally
states remove the rights right out from under people's feet to be able to keep some of these animals. Is literally happening before our eyes.
Yeah. And it is, especially with when Eric's here and we talk about this kind of stuff, right? Like he always pivots to the point of, just keep supporting those good people, keep focusing on the positive, and he's right, but it's hard to do that because it is so easy to let it get to you. And like, it's absolutely maddening and infuriating. And you just wish you could reach through the screen sometimes and just like slap, wake up, knock it off. But at the end of the day, I think that position is really the only one of substance. Like, that's the only thing that's really going to move us in the direction that we want to go in, because anything else is just adding fuel. Unfortunately. And it's so tricky, but I couldn't agree with you more that it's just a matter of voting with your dollar, voting with not even just your dollar, but just your support. And making sure that you're identifying the people that represent what you believe in, and putting whatever, support, whether it's just words, whether it's financial, whether it's views, behind those people, and spreading that. But I feel your rage. I feel it too. And it's not, it's warranted, but it's like, I guess the next question is always like, what's the best thing to do? Right. And I guess that's kind of what I see as the only thing to do.
Yeah. Just keep putting out the right stuff, the good stuff, or promote the people that are doing it, and act like the other stuff isn't even there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So it is hard though, because it bogs you down at times, and human nature kind of predisposes us to want to watch the train wreck. So kind of fighting a lot of different urges.
Right. And isn't that just the case with everything right now? Like, we are in this reptile world, and we see that here the most, but what arena isn't dealing with the same thing? I feel like it's almost just a human problem at this point. That tendency to stare at the train wreck, as you say, and they know it, and there's things like YouTube that reward it. So
that's why it's hard to participate, hard to want to stay participating. It's hard to stay motivated. So well, we're gonna keep going on. We're gonna keep doing the podcast.
Hell yeah.
I've been doing research for some more Colliebridge Corner episodes. Got some good ones coming up, so we're going to keep plugging away with all of that. We've added another Colliebridge show to the. Every time Eric goes, no more podcasts, 2 more somehow weasel their way in, and then he's like, no more, and then 2 more, and I'm like,
how could you say no to a Loafman podcast? That's going to be fun.
So I think the Umbrella's at like a dozen shows right now, if not more. So
I don't know when that dude's going to have time to make a podcast. He's writing 3 books and teaching.
That will be what the value of that show is because it's so infrequent. It just drops it here and there. It's not on a schedule.
100%. Yeah, that dude is he puts so much on his plate. I am amazed that he functions, but he's so freaking smart. I love that guy.
It's cool to see that. So
that's going to be a good one.
I think speaking of trying not to watch the fire as it's happening, we're building a network, and it's doing a lot of good stuff. I think. And the perspective is we're doing something pretty cool. So.
Yeah, and in talking with Zach too, it sounds like his goal for that new show is to kind of do just the NPR format right, but for colubrids and their allies specifically. Like he wants to just highlight that world, and I think that's going to be really cool because there's so many species. There's so much
history. Dude,
history, mystery.
40, 50, 60 years deep. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, and there's definitely a void for that kind of a show. So I'm super stoked for that. And
so the network is going for world domination, and it's happening right before your eyes. So obey.
And I believe there's going to be a Northwest Carpet Fest. I saw.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Week of September or something like that. September 18th at
Jeff and Kendra's. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be rad. That'll be super rad. I don't think I can make it, unfortunately.
September. Yeah.
That's the the busiest month of the year for me right now.
Anything good?
2 of the biggest reptile shows in the state.
Is that Sacramento?
Sacramento is at the end of the month. Anaheim is at the beginning of the month. And we are getting our CNC machine in next month. We're going to be ripping and assembling cages.
I got to start saving up.
Dude, yeah, we're going to be making a lot of cages. We need to put another order for some PVC in because we're going to go through that 100 sheets like that.
Grant's rearing to go. I mean, as soon as he's got that machine, he's going to start cranking them out.
So, yeah. And then my better half's birthday is right in between both of those. And I cannot forget that.
No.
Dude, I can barely remember my own birthday. So that's like the biggest challenge for me right there. So,
yeah, that's one of the ones you put on the Post-it like next to your toothbrush so that you can't forget.
Yeah, like carve it into something that I use daily.
Don't get a tattoo. Bad idea.
I'm not endorsing that, but I'm not discrediting the idea. It's creative and potentially helpful. So
potentially. Yeah.
Anyway, while I've got daylight, I should probably get going on some of this feeding. I've got so many snakes. I have too many snakes.
No. I reject the concept. I'm just kidding. You probably do. It's okay. Give me, I'll take your Womas. I'll take the Grebos. I'll take 2 Apodora. Hognose and Hops. Yeah.
Nope.
Cheers, mate.
By the way, if anybody wants, if anybody's looking for a big adult male Apodora long-term captive, Scott Schmidt is selling like a 10-foot male.
You scared me. I thought you were going to pull out.
You think I'll ever sell an Apodora of mine?
I don't know.
No. Alex, I've got 1 female Woma baby still at the store. For some reason, she's still there.
It's because she never went on Morph Market. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, if she's there any longer and I have snake sales go well pretty soon, then she might come home. But I shouldn't do that.
They're so cool.
Yeah. Anyway, be on the lookout for me to announce when I'm letting go of a few Popwin carpets. They're all going to get their 3rd round of feeding tonight, and then I'm going to pick the 3 or 4 that I'm letting go publicly, and then a few weeks after, or I'll probably do the same thing with Citrus Tiger stuff.
Hell yeah. Very exciting.
I'm here to pick out his stuff so I can pick out my stuff, and then the rest is up. So.
Eric needs to go home and stop looking for animals so that he can talk to us. And you know,
one of these days, Eric's going to trip on a rock and land next to a timber, and it's not going to go well.
Oh my God.
We're going to be really worried about Grandpa Eric at some point.
Not Eric.
Not Eric. We can't have that happen to Eric. He's too valuable.
Literally, we'll all just.
If it happens under Owen's watch, it's Owen's fault.
Yeah.
It'll be Owen's fault.
Well, it'll be Owen's fault regardless because he's
especially
the one.
He doesn't have the monkey backpack anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they should both have backpacks. They should be tethered to each other. Rob should be in charge of the leash attached to both bags.
Oh man.
And it's the buddy system.
Yeah, buddy system.
Not the other buddy system. Just the buddy system.
He can join.
He can join too.
He's earned it.
But would he get his own
big boy for years?
Would he get his own bag?
Yeah.
Jesus Riley. Jesus Riley.
Yes. Somebody say my name?
Yes, Alex Oliver said it. Yes.
I'm kidding. He's a thimble-footed rock wallaby.
Who, Eric? Oh, I've not seen him in person yet, so I don't know.
Lower center of gravity.
That's right. Oh, good. Yeah, right on. Well, good stuff, man. Hopefully I didn't go too much into the getting you worked up territory. I didn't mean to.
No, it's good. You woke me up. I needed that.
Okay.
You woke me up. That was good. Add a little substance to our outro. So,
okay.
All right. Well, we did manage to hit an hour, so that's good. But
very good.
Yeah,
Intern special.
You can expect Eric to be back, and I'll see if we can't coordinate schedules. We'll get Scott to join us too. It's always a good time when Scott joins. He's always got a wealth of knowledge to share. And then if anyone watching or listening is part of the NPR Inland Tier on Patreon, we sent out the email the other day for the upcoming private Q&A stream to make up for June, and we're going to do one at the end of the month as well. So there will be like a couple weeks, and then we'll do another one to catch up. So if you haven't seen the email for that, let us know.
Is that this weekend? Or is it just put you on the spot one more time before we get out of here?
I believe it is this weekend. Let me pull up the email.
Sorry.
Yeah, I believe it's this weekend.
Okay, I'll be ready.
Yeah, it's in 2 days, so we'll be doing that. And then do it again, and we'll keep going. And
excellent.
Ryan Cox, weebles wobble, but they won't fall down. That's true. They bounce back up.
Big if true.
Yes. Go subscribe to the NPR Network on YouTube. Subscribe to Patreon. Check out Teespring Store. All that good stuff. All the shows. Everything.
Many shows. New episode, Reptile Fight Club. New episodes, probably of all of the shows. So.
The Field Herping podcast dropped another episode.
Oh yeah.
NPR's OG show had a wonderful interview with Summer Grace Mitchell on.
Talk about great people to support in the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
All ties in. A
lot of good stuff out there. So.
Yeah.
If you're looking for more, go check it out, and we will catch you next week. Yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, where can people find you, Moi VV?
Under a rock.
Okay. Well, that's good. Keep flipping rocks if you want to get a hold of him. If you want to get a hold of me, Centralian Exotics on all of those thingies. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think that we're going to leave it there. Excellent. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye now.
Bye now. Later.